Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Salas with episode 4 of Salas Flips for Music. Today I want to talk to you about starting up our keyboard unit. We're going to be playing piano for a couple of weeks, and I want to get you started here on YouTube before we actually sit down at the keyboards. I did go over with you your keyboard assignments in class, so hopefully you remember where to go. Don't forget to bring in your headphones when you come to class this week. You're going to need them, and then also you're going to need, and I will provide these for you, but you're going to need an adapter. It looks like this. Because it's a little bit fatter. It goes into the hole in the back of the keyboard, and your regular headphones won't work. But what happens is there's a little hole on the end, and you can plug your headphones into this adapter, and the adapter will let you play the keyboard with your headphones. And again, you don't have to provide those. I'll provide them for you. I wanted to talk to you about how to get started with the fingerings for the first couple of pages in our piano books. When you get your pages this week, you'll see that we're going to only be using the right hand by itself and then the left hand by itself. We won't be doing any piano playing with both hands for a little while yet. You want to make sure that you have memorized the numbers for the fingerings. So for example, if you take a band instrument and you play the clarinet, or if you play the saxophone, you probably have been taught that this is 1, and then this is 2, and this is 3, and this is 4. But in piano, we actually use our thumbs. So you got to count your thumbs as 1. So thumbs would be 1, and then your pointer finger is 2, and your middle fingers are 3, and your ring fingers are 4, and your pinkies are 5. So let's get your hands up and count with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Okay, now let's go backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now let's play a game. I'm going to call out random numbers. We'll go slow. We'll start slow, and see if you can do it. See if you can do it with me. Okay. So get your hands up, and here we go. Good luck. 4, 1, 5, 1, 3, 2, 5, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, now see if you can do it faster. Here we go. 4, 3, 4, 1, 1, 5, 4, 1, 3, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5. Tricked you. 4, 3, 2, 5, 1, 5, 1. If you can do it pretty fast, then you're going to have no problem with the fingerings for the piano. In our piano book that you'll see in class, it'll have the finger numbers for a couple of pages, but after a while, they take away the numbers, so you have to just memorize them. The easiest way to do it is in between, is during the commercial breaks during a show. I always tell kids to do what I call commercial practicing. Watch your favorite TV show, and every time it cuts to a commercial break, just sit there and practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just keep doing it. When we get to class this week, my Wednesday kids, we're actually starting tomorrow. Today's Tuesday. And Thursday kids will obviously start on Thursday. And when you look at the books, we're going to be playing on the black keys and not the white keys. And it's only just for about a week or two that we'll be doing that. The black keys will help us reinforce our finger numbers. It's kind of neat because you don't need to know the names, the letter names of those keys. You'll need to know, excuse me, you'll need to know the letter names of the keys when we get to the white keys, but the book starts you on the black keys so that you can reinforce your finger numbers, and they give you some rhythmic exercises. So make sure that in addition to knowing your finger numbers, that you also have the note values memorized. For example, you need to know that a quarter note in 4/4 time is worth 1 count. A half note in 4/4 time is worth 2 counts. A whole note is 4 counts, and an eighth note by itself is only worth a half a count. When we pair 2 eighth notes together, it's worth 1 count. You need to know those, again, you need to know those rhythms, those note values prior to coming into class on Wednesday and Thursday, because we're going to jump right in with playing in those pages in the piano book, and you're going to need to know, again, the finger numbers as well as the values on the rhythms. You'll notice that if you sit down at a keyboard or a piano, you'll notice that the black keys are kind of in between the white keys, and you'll see that they're in groups. So you'll have like a group of 3 black keys, and then you'll have a group of 2 black keys, and then you'll have a group of 3, and then a group of 2, and then it goes on. So it's 2s and 3s. I call them the twins and the triplets so that it's easier to know what I'm talking about. Instead of just saying it's the group of 2 or it's the group of 3, I always call it like the twins and the triplets. I want to show you, I'm going to take my keyboard or my computer. I'm going to take my computer over to the keyboards, and I want to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you look right at the keyboard, you can see that they're in groups of 2 and they're in groups of 3. Let me see if I can get a better image. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And then if you look, just kind of look carefully, and you can see that there's a little bit of a separation in between those groups of 2s and 3s. So they're not like, it doesn't always go white key, black key, white key, black key. We have some white keys that are next to each other that make it a group of 2 and that make it a group of 3. Okay, let me go back to my desk. So, a way that you can reinforce this at home by learning about the black keys in the groups of 2 and 3, or the twins as I call them, and the triplets, is by going to a website called virtualpiano.net. Virtualpiano.net has this keyboard online that you can actually play using your mouse, and you can come up with different melodies and things like that. It's not as good for reinforcing your finger numbers, but it is good for reinforcing note names when we get to that point in our keyboard unit. In the meantime, take a look at Virtual Piano and see if you can figure out where the groups of 2 and the groups of 3 black keys lie on that keyboard, just so you can get a little bit of a reinforcement before you come to class and you sit down at the keyboard. We're going to do a short review during class prior to sitting down at the keyboards and learning the finger numbers and the patterns with the 2s and the 3s, but it'd be really great if you could look at it ahead of time. So again, practice your finger numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go in reverse, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Practice and take a look at Virtual Piano. That'll help, where you can do the groups of 2s and the 3 black keys, and then you should be golden for when you come to class. I actually put a link to Virtual Piano on my school website. So if you go to the links section of my school website, it'll be right there for learning tools. Just scroll down, you'll see the link for Virtual Piano. For those of you who are still having a little bit of trouble finding my website, Virtual Piano is VIRTUAL, that's virtual, piano, PIANO, No spaces, no capitals, no hyphens, no dots except for the .net. So it's just virtualpiano.net. Super, super easy. It'll load. You can even mess around. You can change the color of your keyboard, I think. And then you can play around with some of that stuff. And that website will be cool once you start actually learning songs, and you can go plunk the songs out on that website. Again, you can't, it doesn't reinforce your finger numbers because you can't sit and play. I guess unless you have an iPad, you can kind of try that, or some kind of tablet. You can put it down and kind of play like that. Another thing is a lot of kids who have tablets at home, they like to download piano apps so they can actually play it on if they don't have a real keyboard or a piano at home. So you can try finding a free app. If you ever download anything, make sure that you talk to a parent prior to doing so. Get their permission, especially if it's going to be a paid app. Don't do anything without their permission. If you guys have any questions, as always, you can email me at ksalas@depew.winnyrick.org, or leave me a message in my message board online, or I'll just see you in class. There isn't an extra credit assignment for this week, but I do appreciate you tuning in. And again, if you have any questions, just contact me. And also, just as a heads up, there's going to be a special code that we're going to be using to refer to your right hand and your left hand. And so we'll talk about that in class. Make sure you ask me if I forget to teach it to you. I shouldn't, because the code pops up in the piano book. But hopefully those of you who have seen this episode will, I know that you've watched, because then you'll say, you said in the video you were going to teach us about right hand versus left hand. So make sure you ask me about that, and then I'll know you watched the video. So again, if you have any questions, just contact me. But in the meantime, practice your hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also take a look at virtualpiano.net and look at those black keys and see how they're grouped. Even play around with them, see what kind of sounds you can get from it. Have a great week, and I'll see you in class.